What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here with College Admission Secrets. Welcome back to another free training here in our UC Admission Secrets Facebook group. This week's a really awesome training. We actually have a special guest for this training here today. We invited one of our coaches inside of our coaching program. He's actually also one of the advisors. So a lot of families who are interested in getting help with our program, we have a team that just helps out families inside our free community, our advisors. Coach Victor is actually one of our top advisors in our program as well, too. And Coach Victor also runs a really amazing career program as well, too, helping students, not just high school, but also high school, college, and even young adults secure jobs, internships, and other things as well, too. So inside our coaching community, a lot of our families are like, hey, is it too late to get an internship? Hey, can we get this and that? And in our Facebook group, people are asking the same thing. So I was like, Coach Victor, a special favor for me. Do you mind jumping in, kind of opening up the curtains, sharing a little bit with our families here? And so we're super fortunate and lucky to have him here today. So in the chat, if you guys are ready, go ahead and drop a number one. If you guys are ready to get started, drop a number one in the chat. We have over 150 people ready to go here tonight. Coach Victor has a really awesome training. Again, I asked him, hey, hold nothing back, give everything away if you can. And I think I saw a preview of the slides. It definitely is that. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and toss it up to Coach Victor.
Hello, everyone. Super excited to be able to present with y'all today. I know that with a lot of
Coach
students.
Victor, I think your audio is on the wrong audio.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I cannot hear you.
In the chat, if you hear me.
We are good now. Just kidding. I apologize. All right, take two.
Okay. All right. Super excited to be able to present with y'all. I talked to a lot of students and even parents asking about internships and how is it that you could set up your student for success, especially when it comes to personal projects or being able to showcase the kind of job opportunities that you have experienced on your college apps. These are all relevant. And also, even if after when you're in college, this is super relevant to be able to get an internship while you're in college or even after you're done graduating from your four-year university. So that being said, let's dig right in. As Coach Tony mentioned before, this is like a partnership between College Admission Secrets and also my Ikigai Career Compass organization and company where we'll be presenting. Okay, so this is what I always tell my students is that it's super important to learn from three sources of information. One, people who studied it. Two, people who are interacted with it. And three, people who experienced it. It's important that we get a holistic view of learning from everybody, right? If you learn any information from one person, that is a very biased perspective. And so therefore, in order for us to be able to make the most out of particular information or to gain the best knowledge, we need to learn from different people. So for myself, I'm going to show you that I have done all three of them. So first of all, I got a master's in public policy from UC Berkeley, and my master's thesis was actually about workforce youth development for the city of San Jose. It's one of those rare moments where people have got their master's, they've done their thesis, and they're like excited that they could finally present on what is it that they studied and what they learned. I've also interacted with folks who are employers and admissions office. So I used to teach a Getting to Graduate School course back at UC Berkeley, and I also did high school outreach with Coach Tony, where we both met each other back at Berkeley. And lastly, I experienced actually getting internships myself through this method. So know that what I'm about to teach you is something that I have done personally, and it works. So I want to be able to share the secret with you all because this is a method that nobody really ever talks about. So I was able to gain internships and also consultation opportunities from San Francisco Unified, City of San Jose, Silicon Valley Organization, and West Contra Costa. And lastly, I've created a lot of education technology products as a product manager that relates to internships as well. So that being said, let's dig right in. In terms of this, I'm going to also show that this is some examples of ways of internships and consultations that I've received in the past. There was one internship experience where I got $5,000 for 3 months, another consultation for $9,500 for 5 months, and also $4,000 per month. So I'm going to show you about how I landed these particular opportunities, and even students right now can be able to get those opportunities yourself too. Okay, awesome. So in terms of internships, right? People typically do these two things. I'm going to walk through scenario one. which is you check for new postings every day until something sparks their interest. So you might go on LinkedIn, you might go Indeed, you might go on all these different job postings to find an internship that fits for you. The issue with this is that typically when you're looking through internships, you don't really know what exactly you're looking for. You're just trying to find something that sparks your interest and be like, yeah, I think I could do this one, or, oh, this doesn't seem interesting to me at all. And because of that, you're not really being specific in terms of the way that you're doing your search. Secondly, you're competing against a lot of students across the country. Typically, for any internship application or a job opportunity, you're going to have hundreds of applications that are going to be sent to that one person to review. So because of that, it's hard to stand out. And think of this way, especially when you're in high school, you might not necessarily have experience yet to be able to compete against everyone else who might have experience already. So we're going to talk about how is it that you can beat the competition by not competing against anyone. And third, you don't fit the qualifications, right? As I mentioned, you might not necessarily have the skills yet, the talents yet, or the experiences. And so we are going to talk about how is it that you can develop your skills and talents to be able to get into an internship. Scenario 2 is that many folks, especially I know for parents, this is something that you might typically advise your kids, is that you wait for a known internship program and you apply when they accept applications. A very popular one is Cosmos, right? But if you didn't know, Cosmos gets more than 1,000 applicants per year. And with that, it's really competitive because you're competing against a whole country that knows that this program is amazing. And again, this goes back to the challenge, right? You're competing not just about hundreds of applicants, you're competing against more than 1,000. And moreover, especially with the experience too, you don't know what is it that you're going to get out of the experience. Even though internships are made to be able for students to be able to get more experience and exposure to the world, you still can't control the day-to-day activities because they have a set curriculum, they have a set plan, and they have set job responsibilities for you. And lastly, it's not personalized or special. The way that you're receiving this internship is going to be the same as every other student there. And so when you're talking about it on your applications, it's not going to be as effective to be able to just say I participate in Cosmos with everyone else and like assume that that's going to give you a leg up, because really what the readers, what they want to know is, what did you learn from that experience? How do you learn more about yourself? And also, how does this impact your future? And when it comes to internships, internships are intended to be able to give you all of that, and you can cater your internship towards your own experience. That's the ideal. So what's the secret then? How do you get internships if you don't apply through job postings or through these programs that you see? Well, let's take a step back. First, we got to think about the major players. Okay. So when it comes to thinking about internships, there are 3 types of people. First is the students. I need an internship or job to get experience. And this is like one of those things where students are always looking out for any type of opportunity. And there's tons of students in the whole entire country that are in this same type of predicament. The second type of folks are recruiting employers. I'm looking for a particular candidate. These are people who actually created a job application or job posting, more so, to be able to say, hey, we want someone with this particular skill set to help us in our company. And the last one is employers with problems. I have a need that's making my life stressful. These are employees who don't even have the time to create a job posting. And really, they have so much things going on for themselves that they aren't even thinking about trying to get an intern. So let's go into each of them specifically. And trust me, it's all going to connect really soon. So first of all, for students, is that you're inexperienced, you have a lack of skills, and you don't necessarily know what is it that you want yet, right? And it's understandable. It's perfectly fine to not know what you want. But that's where coaching comes in, right? For us at College Admission Secrets, we do our best to be able to talk with you, to be able to understand what your interests, what your strengths, and then be able to guide you to be able to understanding what is it that you do want, and also what skills do you already have that you don't realize. A lot of the club activities that you're doing, maybe at school, is part of your skill sets that are that you have. So something to be aware about is you might have some skills, you just don't really realize it yet. Third is a lack of exposure to career fields. You don't know what you don't know. Many folks here, probably who are students, especially high school students, don't even know all the different types of careers they can go into. And that makes sense because they lack exposure, right? And how is it that you're supposed to be able to learn about those fields if you're only in your high school and you're only talking to your family? And lastly, willing to accept any opportunity that comes. Students are always down to like accept anything. I'll take any job opportunity, whatever, because because of the fact that they don't have much of that experience, they're willing to go into anything. And this can be a little bit problematic because sometimes going into the wrong opportunity might set you back even more. So I want to give students the perception that you do have some agency in terms of how you choose and how you develop your internship. And it's not that you have to accept whatever comes at you, but you can actually create those opportunities. And I'll share that in just a bit. Recruiting employers. These are people who have specific skill sets or needs in their qualifications. These are typically hard skills, like, for example, hey, I need someone that knows how to code in this particular thing. I need somebody who can help with data visualizations. I need someone who can organize certain paperwork. So because of that, they have particular things that they know that they want students to help in with because it matches their skill level. The second thing is that they have the resources to recruit. So sometimes they have an HR partner or HR process where they can review a bunch of students' applications and be able to say, review them and see who actually fits it. The third is that they know that internships are actually higher value to the students rather than employer. This is the power imbalance here. Employers have definitely the more power in terms of being able to say like, oh, we can give anything to the student because the student doesn't have a say. And also the student doesn't have any skill sets yet to really be able to advocate. And because of that, they're placed in low skilled or less risky jobs. If you were to remove that intern from that environment, the business will still run. Everything will still be able to operate by itself because that intern is doing very menial work. While employees with problems, this is the last persona that we're going to be walking through. They are experiencing workplaces and don't even have the capacity or experiences to be able to address everything. They don't even have time to recruit students, right? So this is the issue that while they can benefit from interns, they don't necessarily have the resources to even create an internship program, put a job posting, interview so many people, because it takes a lot of time to interview candidates and to review applications. So that being said, it's more work for them, right? And sometimes is it even worth the work to be able to do that? And so because of that, that's where they don't even choose to even have an intern from the beginning. And also, but if they were to hire an intern, it's actually based more on the potential value and soft skills, where they want to hire people who are willing to be able to go into any type of issue or any type of obstacle and just work it. So because of that, the main contrast here between employers with problems and also the ones who are hiring, the employers with the problems are more than likely to be able to hire based off of what you can potentially offer. So let's take a step back, okay? Why do jobs exist? And this is important. Why is it that all these three personas exist? Economics 101, in the thing that you will learn, especially if you haven't taken an economics class, is that someone is willing to pay someone to alleviate a pain or make them happier, right? And because of that, we could see that someone that's willing to pay is the employer of the problems, and that someone could be you as a student to alleviate that pain and make them happier. That is a job opportunity, right? When you are hurt, right, you hire a doctor or a nurse to be able to look to support with that. If you need to drive somewhere but you don't have a car, you hire a Uber or Lyft driver to be able to take you from point A to point B. Essentially, you as a student need to figure out what is the problem that you can solve for them and to be able to provide that particular skill set so you are more valuable. So let's talk about value. What does value actually mean, and how do you become a high value intern or prospective intern? Well, value, I break it down into two simple things: benefit minus cost. Okay. The benefit is essentially what is it that you can offer? What is it that you can get? So these could be hard skills, right? These are things that you learn through, like, let's say, coding, things that you can quantify, things that are acquired through any type of training, whether that's through Google Sheets, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoints, or Google Slides. These are all potential examples of hard skills that you could be able to offer. Soft skills are really important as well, which are sometimes overlooked. These are people skills, interpersonal skills, and these are acquired through experience as opposed to hard skills that's through training. And also knowing that soft skills is easily transferable across many different jobs. While hard skills, you might have to only apply to specific roles that need that particular hard skill. So the contrast here is that you need both of them to be able to do really well. And also a lot of students tend to focus on the hard skills as opposed to the soft skills that are transferable for their internship. And it's important that you don't forget that it's important to talk to people, to collaborate with people, and to be able to showcase that you're easy to work with. Okay, so let's talk about cost. It costs money to be able to hire somebody in general, right? There are financial costs and attention costs. Financial costs is the cost to be able to, let's say, your salary, your wage, or stipend for an intern. It also involves a lot of technological equipment, and you have to go through the process of recruiting, onboarding, training, and all this admin work to get them on board. That costs a lot of people's time and money, and so therefore, like, it's really expensive actually to even hire an intern. It's more costly to get an intern, and because of that, they're not even going to hire or put a job posting out there because it's not worth it. The last cost is the attention. That involves supervision time, training time, onboarding time, project management, coordination, and even just helping them adjust to the company, right? Attention is a commodity. It is something that you trade for, right? Think of social media even, right? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, these are absorbing your attention, right? And you might have to look at it every single you might be tempted to look at them every single hour in terms of your social media feed and seeing what's new. The same applies to interns, right? You have to pay attention to them because if you don't maximize their time, they're going to be more costly for you. If they're not working, they don't know what to do, then next thing you know, you're spending more of your own precious time to be able to supervise them. So the point of this, right, is how can you as a potential intern make your benefits outweigh the cost so that you have more value? Okay, so let's say you solve for that equation. You get a lot of hard skills, you got a lot of soft skills, and now that you have high value and you figured out what is it that you can provide, how do you actually get an internship? And great question. But one thing is that your value is going to be perceived differently by every employer because value is based on employer needs. Remember that one of the personas that we talked about was employers with problems. Every single employer has a different problem. It is your job as the prospective intern to figure out what is their problem, what are their needs, and how can I solve for that particular need. The next question then becomes, how do I find the employers who have a need that I can fulfill my skill sets, right? This is where the matching begins. You can't just intern for any single place that you want to be, right? You have to intern for a place that actually matches your skill level, your skill sets, and that can be beneficial for that organization. And there's a quote that I really love. It's by MJ DeMarco. He's like a millionaire, so I'm sure or a billionaire at this point. He probably knows what he's talking about. But the quote here is, attributing success to luck is partially true. Success is about creating processes that increases your probability of luck to occur, right? What this means is that you got to put yourself out there to find opportunities because that's going to increase your probability that something will finally hit, as in something will finally be in your favor because you're putting out as many of you're scoping out as many opportunities as you can that you can take on. So then the question will become, how might you increase your value and reach, right? The reach, right, is the putting yourself out there, being able to market yourself and get to as many people as you can. Right now, most of the students, especially even on this call, you might be at the bottom left right here of this graph. You are a student that has low value and low reach, right? You have low reach because you are only talking to your family members, your friends, and also your local high school community. You have low value because you don't realize what hard skills or soft skills you have yet, right? So the point is, how do we go increase our value and increase our reach as a student? And this can be applied to even those who are actually adults here in the room. If you're an adult here looking for a job, this is something that for you to consider too. How can I increase my value and in my reach? Oh, so the way to go approach it is to create your own internship. Okay. To create, once you have nailed what is it that you is the value that you can offer, and you realize that what you're interested in, you can now start going about and create your own internship, which is I guess the secret sauce here, right? Instead of applying for job applications where there's a whole bunch of different students applying for the same thing, you can create your own where you don't have to compete against anybody. Okay, I'm going to teach you how to do that in 6 simple steps. First is develop a list of organizations, identify a contact, initiate contact and schedule a meeting, prepare an informational interview, conduct an informational interview, and then follow up with a portfolio. This is the way I've used it to be able to land my internships and my consultation opportunities. So let's start with step 1, right? You want to have that self-awareness. That's the understanding of what is it that you can provide, right? We talk about this in coaching all the time when it comes to our students. What do you actually like doing? What are you good at? Why do you even want to do certain things, right? So by understanding your skills and experiences and also the values and interests, you could be able to match with different organizations that could be a good fit for you. So during my time, this is in 2018. So I'm going to walk through an example of when I got an internship in 2018 when I was in grad school. And these are the skill sets I've accumulated during that time, where I knew data analytics, I knew how to do policy implementation at a school district level and city level. I knew a lot about K through 12 education. I've worked with college admissions, aka with Coach Tony, and also I know some information about workforce development because I studied it. And I know that my interests are public policy, education, and I'm from East San Jose, and I always wanted to be able to serve my community. So when you list that, when you figure out that list of organizations, for me, it was PolicyLink, Silicon Valley Education Foundation, and the City of San Jose. It's important that you align these organizations to yourself because you don't want to just head up every possible that you could think about, because there has to be intention behind who you're reaching out to. So because of that, I would say you want to be intentional and try to figure out what is it that your values can align to and what are the places that you could make big opportunity. There's also a huge difference between working for a small company versus working for a large corporation. Large corporations obviously have a lot of people working there, right? And so they're the people who have employers that are putting out job postings. Large corporations such as Google, such as LinkedIn, such as anything else you can think of, they already have a process in place to be able to hire interns. So as I mentioned, you want to avoid that. You want to go to the places that are chaotic. You want to go to startups. You want to go to small organizations that could benefit from your support. So this is where I started. And then I went through and I was like, okay, let's go to the website, look up their staff, and I'm going to reach out to all of these folks here. So when you reach out to all these people, right, you're more than likely not going to hear back from everyone. And that's okay, right? It's understandable that a lot of people will not message back to an email that's all of a sudden like, hey, I'm a student. Would you be open to talking to me? Like your response rate is probably going to be 10% or even less, right? And so you want to understand that this is a numbers game. You have to reach out to as many different folks in that organization as much as possible that can get your foot in the door. So when you contact them, how do you do it? First, you want to introduce yourself with a 2 to 3 sentence elevator pitch. For the students who worked with me in my career coaching, they already know that we practice elevator pitches, and it's important that you know what your branding is. You have to be aware of what is it that you want to brand yourself and how you communicate that. Second, you want to indicate why you reach out to them and what you like to discuss, such as like, hey, I would love to be able to learn what's it like to work in the city of San Jose, or what are the problems that you're experiencing right now, or what is the particular project that you're working on. I would love to learn more. So you emphasize the meeting at their convenience too, and make 20 to 30-minute appointments. This is going to be very quick, small conversations because their time is money. You're going to also lastly give them their specific timeframes availability. Don't make them do the work of being like, hey, when are you free? And then they have to go to their calendar and look up 3 different times or something like that. They're less likely to respond if you or a broad calendar and letting them choose. Instead, tell them, hey, I'm free tomorrow at 4 p.m., this Friday at 2 p.m., and tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Something as simple as that, because they know what to look for right away. And if you don't hear back, then send a follow-up response. It's okay. Sometimes people are busy. Don't take it personally if people don't respond to you. So especially for those who I worked with as an advisor, right? You probably hear from the college admission secrets advisors all the time following up with you. And we know you're busy people. So it's okay to reach out again. So this is an example of me reaching out to somebody back in 2018, I believe. And during that time, in the first paragraph, I introduced myself. I introduce what is it that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to seek their time and knowledge in regards to workforce and economic development policies. The second paragraph, what I actually did here is that I mentioned who referred me to them because it's important to have a warm connections. Warm connections are likely to be able to link you up to that person. And what I mean by warm connection is that you know somebody who knows somebody who knows that person. So cold connection is like, I don't know anybody in between us. Like this person, I have no connection to them. I'm going to reach out to them. But warm connection is more likely to increase your chances of response rates. So in there, I mentioned about when I chatted with them and when I was introduced to them. And also, I gave them a little compliment here. Like, I was extremely impressed with your presentation regarding recommendations of parks, public spaces, sustainability, and neighbor quality of life at the Diridon Station Plan. I'm curious from your perspective, how will the city of San Jose implement the recommendations from the SAG meetings while negotiating with Google's resources and limitations? So here, what I did is like I put a very inquisitive question, right? A question that like gets you thought provoking, and it helps them understand like, hey, this person is seems pretty invested, and they did their homework. They did some research about what is it that I do and what is it that I've been working on. And the last paragraph, what I wrote down is, I'm seeking your personal guidance in my professional trajectory. And I talk about how I need to do, I'm trying to create a internship project in my 2-year program, and would like to receive their recommendations on where I could leverage my interests and skills to serve our city. So here, what I'm doing is I'm talking about what is it that I'm studying, right? And it's important to actually note that even for high school students right now, okay? Even if you're a high school student now, write down what is it that you're interested in studying when you go to college, or what kind of careers you're interested in, right? Because it gets them to understand what kind of skill sets that might be relevant to that job and to you. And lastly, I didn't actually follow my recommendation here. If you have any availability in the coming weeks over coffee, I should have added like 2 or 3 times that they can be available. Okay. So the next step is preparing for an informational interview. For those who don't know, an informational interview is that instead of you going for an interview for a job, you are interviewing the person to learn more information. That's why it's called informational, right? This puts you in power. You are in control of your time, right? And because of that, you can set the goals that you want, which is you want to learn specific things. You want to learn particular nuggets of information from them, and set a clear objective that, hey, I want to get an internship either here or something like similar, okay? Like, I want you to help me. And even if that person isn't the person who makes the decision about the internship, they're still valuable to talk to because they might know somebody, right? Again, warm connection. You got to create your network to create a warm connection to get you a higher response rate that can get you that first internship or a job. Second is to research an interviewee. Learn about the background, career path, and current role. Understand the company and industry. This is where you have to do your homework. Doing your homework means you have to learn about this person. All right. Say you are in an informational interview about with one professional that you want to potentially work for, right? And you ask the question, hey, can you tell me what you did for the past 4 years or 5 years? Like, no, that's not a good question, because you can look that up on LinkedIn, right? Don't waste their time. Don't waste your time to be able to ask questions that you can even find online already. Instead, use that information that you have online and use it as like your ammunition or your kind of back pocket resource to pull from to show that you are taking initiative to learn more about them. Okay. Third is to prepare thoughtful questions. You want to develop the list of questions that align with your goals. Your goal for the meeting, it has to align with these questions. If your goal is to get an internship, but you ask them like, oh, how should I study for this particular like major? Like, that is not aligned with your goal, right? If your goal is to get a job, then you ask them, hey, what skill sets do I need, or what experiences do I need in order to be able to work here, right? You're identifying the needs of the company. You can also ask like, hey, what's a problem that you're experiencing right now at your workplace? And then you ask them more questions. Oh, why is that a problem? Can I potentially like help solve for that? Because I have the skill sets of X, Y, and Z, and I think that it would be a good fit, right? So focus on their experiences, insights, and their advice, and be able to leverage that time to be able to not just ask them questions, but you're sharing a little bit about yourself as well, right? Because throughout those questions, you're providing context to them about yourself, your skill sets, and your interests. So you want to like kind of get them talking like 70% of the time, but the other 30% of the time, you have to share out what is it that you can offer. The last two bits, reach out for an interview, send a polite professional request, either that's through email or LinkedIn, and to briefly introduce yourself and explain why is it that you're interested in speaking to them. So similar to the last slide where the message, you want to be able to reach out again and just let them and just introduce yourself and have them prep for that conversation. Then lastly, agree on the times where you're going to meet. I always recommend meeting in person because in person, you're able to have a stronger relationship as opposed to Zoom. If you go in person, people are more than likely to be able to, feel more empathetic or sympathetic for you. And so because of that, make it easy for them, right? If you know their physical location, ask them to go to a coffee shop that's like a block away, okay? You want to reduce the amount of friction it takes for them to be able to meet and talk with you because that's where they're going to say yes. Okay. And so while you're conducting the informational interview, I might have said some information about this already, but this is just a general structure. You don't have to do it exactly. But the first thing, build rapport. Start with small talk. Don't ask about the weather. Weather is always the same thing everyone always asks, but just a friendly greeting. And maybe if you already know them from some way, like talk about their warm connection. If let's say you're meeting this person named Kevin and John introduced you to Kevin and be like, hey, how do you know John? Like, how'd you meet John? Like, oh, it's so interesting that like we came into the same kind of I don't know, same kind of relationship with him, or it's interesting, a small world or whatever like that. Okay. That's just to like start the conversation on a light, positive note. Introduce yourself. This is where your elevator pitch comes in, where you provide what is it that you are one, interested in, and think about and communicate your goals, and also talk a little bit through about what skill sets that you have been working on and what is it that you could potentially offer. Ask the questions that you prepped for that. You're only going to really have time for 3 or 4 questions. So you really want to make sure that these questions are really meaningful, right? Because they really guide the conversation to be able to reach to your goal. When you're going through these questions, make sure you listen actively, show genuine interest in the responses. Don't just say like, yes, like every time like you're talking to someone, what does it mean to be a empathetic like listener or responsive listener? You want to like stay focused on them and repeat back what is it that stood out to you that you found interesting so that it shows that you're engaged. If you just nod your head and just like, okay, then ask the next question, it's too formal. It's too structured. I know this says it's an informational interview, but informational interview, just think of that as it's supposed to be a dialogue, right? And for that, you're supposed to try to keep the conversation going. If you don't feel comfortable yet, try to practice with a friend, practice with your coaches, or practice with your parents, okay? Next, you want to discuss next steps towards the very end, and you can inquire about your additional contacts or resources. So again, even if they are the person that isn't going to give you the internship, they can introduce you to 1 or 2 other people, right? So maybe towards the end of the conversation, you might say like, hey, I'm really looking to build my internship experience or my skill sets. I've been working on learning how to code in Python, and I see that based off what you're saying is that that is a potential need right now to get more support. I was wondering, is it possible that we can work something out where like we create some type of position for me to be able to support and like and try to see how they respond to that, right? If not, if they say like, oh, like I don't really know if I could really do that, then you ask them again, can you at least introduce me to 1 or 2 other people who might be interested? So because of that, you are opening the opportunity to be able to be connected to more people who might be able to who might have the needs or problems that you can fulfill. So that being said, because you put it out there, right, that person can think about, oh, I know there's 2 other people who might be experiencing that particular issue. I think I can refer you to them. And after that, after you be able to get connected, ask to see if you could follow up for future advice or opportunities. Try to build that relationship. It's not a one-time thing. It's a long-term thing, right? What that means is you might be talking with this person again in like a year from now, even 5 years from now. There are people who I have had informational interviews with years ago, and then we reconnected again after like 2, 3, 4 years. And those relationships are super important because they are your network to be able to get future job opportunities like the ones that I got. Because people thought about me when they remembered what are the skill sets that I can provide in that short time. Because they only have 20 to 30 minutes with you, right? They only know so much about you. So what they know about you is based off the skill sets that you have communicated to them, which is super vital because that becomes your branding. Your personal branding is what gets you jobs. It's not about having the best resume. It's not having the best cover letter. It's not about like having like knowing so many people. It's about understanding how does your personal branding intersect with the needs of employers. Okay. The last bit is expressing an appreciation, right? After you thank their time, send a thank you note, maybe in an email after 24 hours, and just like mention like, hey, I really appreciate that conversation. As I mentioned before, you said that you're going to connect me with 1 or 2 other people. Can you please do that for me, please? And also, you mentioned that you might talk to your HR department about hiring an intern. Is that possible that we can follow up on that, or when can I hear back from you? Okay. So make the thank you note a like action item for them as well. Okay. That being said, after a week, you want to follow up with a portfolio. Reach out after a week, and again, thank them for their time, and then send some information about yourself and what is it that you could potentially provide. Here, what I did was I provided an appreciation about our time, our conversation. I gave them a little bit of like a I don't know, boosting their ego, saying like our city is in good hands, and to see this process unfold, like it's a way to be able to know that that you have a positive impression on them, and so if that makes them happy, then they're like, oh, okay, great, I would love to be able to assist this person somehow. And so at the very end, I go again with my ask in terms of, is there any potential projects that I could do to support this particular issue? So that actually led me to some internships that to be able to do back in 2019, where I was able to help out with the workforce development effort in the city of San Jose. And here, that's where I was able to show like, hey, I can support a lot in policy implementation and data analytics. Can I be able to like, use that for something? And that's where it is right here. And the last part, I think this is one of the last slides, that's important to note is that crafting the internship experience is something that's that you want to prepare for as well. So what that means is once you're in the conversations with the people who can potentially give you the internships, right? You have the autonomy and the agency to choose what is it that you want to do, right? As I mentioned, all the typical internships that you see on job postings, they have defined roles. And when you're reaching out and you're reaching out to the employers of problems who don't have time for an intern, you can create that role for them. So sometimes what people say in like fancy words is like developing a scope of work, developing some type of job description that you can potentially do for them because it becomes a proposal, right? It's like, hey, I can help your company by doing X, Y, and Z because I had this experience in the past by doing that. And even if you're a high school student and you don't have experience, you can always say, hey, these are the projects I worked on and I developed these particular skills. I think that I can use this skill to be able to support you in this particular issue, right? You're connecting your previous projects or your previous experiences. And again, if you don't have experience, work on projects. Projects are good ways of experience. And then you show that to them as a portfolio. From there, you could define the internship role. So an easy way to do to define the internship role is by looking up job descriptions online. Look up internship descriptions online, try to find some common roles and responsibilities, and be able to create your imaginary job, essentially, right? And that way, that helps you be able to understand, okay, what does my day-to-day activity look like? Because again, there's attention time that is dedicated towards hiring an intern. So the point is they don't need to pay attention to you because you are a self-starter, right? That's what you want to communicate across. And by having the internship role, by having the job description, you are already defining, hey, I know what to do once I get in, okay? And even though you might not know necessarily entirely everything, but you can keep yourself busy, that's beneficial to the work and the company. Because the last thing that you want to do is you don't want to be that high school intern where everybody is has to figure out what work to give you, right? That becomes work on them. And you want to be able to say, hey, I could solve any problem. This is a problem that I see. Let me go in and support you there. You have more value, more benefit by doing that. The last bit I'll mention is to find your mentor. Is your mentor your supervisor or a colleague, and who could teach you the ins and outs of the industry or train your skills? It's not just about similar to college, right? It's not about just getting in. It's about being able to persist through and then be able to get more value out of the program itself or out of the internship itself. So because of that, you want to try to find people who are willing to mentor you and be able to support you, and that could teach you the common things that you should know within this particular role or this particular company. This is what will lead you to a potential full-time job, right? Because if you have developed the large understanding of how this company works inside out, then you would know all the places where you could fit in, right? And then it becomes valuable to them because they don't need to go out and hire other people. They don't need to go and research and put out a job posting. They already have you, and you are the perfect candidate for them because you already know everything about the company, right? So because of that, you've increased your value if you learn more about the company. And so one of the things that I'll also say is that like paid versus unpaid internship, likelihood of this being paid or unpaid is really based off your skills. If you don't have any skills, how do you expect to get paid, right? And if you do have some skills, look up how much does it cost to hire an intern for social media or something like that, or an intern for engineering. How much do they typically make, right? That gives you a baseline of what is it that it typically costs for people to hire someone of that skill set. I always recommend that if you're going in your first time as a high school student or a college student and you don't have any experience, work for free. I know that's not something that I agree with in terms of the whole labor market itself, but because you don't have any experience yet, you need to develop that experience, and that's what's called career capital. That's something I talk about in my career coaching, but I won't go into that because that's a whole new topic itself. But this is the result it led to. I got after going through that internship for the summer, I was able to get a longer contract with them as a consultant between January and May. And so that's like 5 months. And I was able to make $9,500 off of that. And it wasn't even that much work. The amount of time I put in each month was probably like, I don't know, 3 to 5 hours or something like that. It's very little. But because of that, you can be able to create these contracts and even negotiate one day about how much skill set and value that you can provide. Okay, so I'm going to end here in terms of for just a quick shout out in terms of my own company. It's called Ikigai Career Compass. The mission of my company is to guide students to be confident, happier in their self-selected careers, ensuring financial sustainability, and which I'm defining here 100K plus, right? Because every student deserves to be happy in their job and they deserve to get paid well for it, right? That's what I'm trying to do. And essentially, this is one of the lessons that we will teach here and coach you through it. So Coach Tony pressured me into doing this particular deal. Essentially, what is it that we're going to do is for the first 5 people who sign up for a career planning session, you'll get a free whole career planning session. So have the student in the conversation too. I'll provide recommendations about what is they can do to plan their career journey with optional session at the very end to be able to learn more about our new programs and services I'm about to offer. So again, only, yeah, Coach Tony did pressure me. So I'm making a special deal just for CAS for this entire community. Okay, and so with that, I think I'll take any questions.
Awesome, awesome. That was a amazing train. I took notes myself. By the way, those who know, by the way, real quick in the chat, do you guys enjoy that session? Let me know in the chat. You guys, yes, drop a yes if that was good, or drop the emojis, whatever is closest to your finger, as well too. Dude, if you actually rewatch, I think I definitely recommend it's one of those rewatching kind of trainings because again, there are so many scripts. I think one of the things a lot of parents will have like, what do I actually say? What do I actually send people? Coach Victor gave you everything, right? He told you exactly word for word what you said. Like he showed you examples of what he did to land him what he got as well too. So I did not expect him to share all that. I thought it was still a little more high level, but he actually gave you guys everything. which is incredible. Really quick, Coach Victor, the counter is that a paid call? Is that a
It's a free call, so no
yeah? So
payment for that.
there you go. So if you guys want to go ahead and book it, I know Coach Victor told me he's capping at 5. So once if you can't book anymore, it's because the 5 are used up. So definitely, if you guys are interested, go ahead and book a free session. A lot of our students actually went on to Coach Victor's program. A lot of our graduates went on to Coach Victor's program to help them land and forgo. And he does again not just high school, but high school and college and beyond as well too. So amazing, and you guys see he knows his stuff as well. So one of the questions that came in the chat, by the way, feel free to drop it. We'll probably say we're a little over, so few minutes stay on to ask a few questions. Coach Victor, so a family asked, is there any internships you recommend for corporate law?
I noticed the time step is at 6:08, so potentially they missed a lot of the good learnings for a lot later. So again, this whole point about this secret to the getting an internship is by networking with folks who work in corporate law, right? So if you know a lawyer, talk with them, have that networking conversation, and ask if they have an opportunity. If not, that's okay. Meet 1 or 2 other people, right? So as I mentioned in one of the quotes, you want to maximize your probability of luck. And in order to do that, you have to shoot as many times as you can by talking to as many people as possible.
Awesome. Fantastic. Cool. I think a lot of people start clicking on a link as well too, as I see a few coming through. So yeah, so that's pretty much it here. Thank you for the hearts as well. One more time, if you guys are enjoyed that session, apologies we got a little over, but it looked like we had like 200 people kind of stay on the entire time, which is awesome as well too. So again, before we kind of close out today, again in the chat, if you guys want to go ahead and book that free session with Coach Victor, just to get that 30-minute session to help your child. It's to plan out. A lot of our kids have done this. They loved it. Parents said it was an amazing call as well too. Again, little different, right? For us, traditionally we help kids get to college, but again, why are we even going to college in the first place is to help them go on to their dream careers and make a successful career monetarily and also for their personal happiness as well. So that's a lot of the things that Coach Victor does with his own students as well. So any closing words for this session, Coach Victor, before we end it up?
Yeah. So one quick thing. So one fun fact: one of my students who went through the program said they started their own business after my program, and I was not expecting that at all. They were like, "Oh, we're doing a testimonial video at the very end," and they were like, "Oh," I was like asking them, "What's the greatest value that you got out of this program?" And she said, "Well, I started my own business. I started my own business." I was like, "What? You started your own business from what I was talking about?" And the reason for that is because what we did is that we set her up with people to talk to. She was first interested in marketing, right? And so I introduced her to someone who knew marketing, and she found out that she didn't like it. And that's good information. It's good information to know if you don't like something. So the whole point of this whole networking and to be able to develop these life skills is to develop more self-awareness about the things that you do like or do not like. A lot of students right now, you'll ask them, like, what is it you want to do in the future? They won't know because they haven't experienced it yet. So the whole point of this whole entire Ikigai career compass is to give them a compass, a self-regulated compass that they can figure out what is it that they'll feel passionate about, what is it they love, and also at the same time, what can they get paid for to do really well in. So yeah, so that's just my last 2 bits on that.
Awesome, fantastic. I had a question that popped in. I think I could probably jump in and answer really quick as well too. Someone asked, "How do you land internship in psychology?" I'm assuming this person you may have not seen the training. You probably joined a little late or joined a little early as well too. Again, we're not the method that Coach Victor teaches. By the way, a lot of our coaches know that I teach a very similar method as well too inside that program. Is that we don't actually apply. Right, we don't actually apply that. That's kind of the thing. When you're applying, you're competing against every single person applying, which again statistically lowers your chances. And realistically, if you're putting a high school student against college and adults, high school kids will never win. is the thing there, right? But the method that Coach Victor basically laid out the entire call today is how we would have high school students do it. So whoever asked this question, I think definitely rewatch the training. It'll definitely help you out. Coach Victor, I have a question for you here. A family asked, I am a rising junior interested in pre-law. Is it too late to wait until next year to get an internship?
Yeah, so the question is, it's never too late. So what's amazing about internships, about this whole opportunity, you don't have to wait for deadlines. You don't have to wait for timelines, right? For Cosmos, for all the other programs that coaching families are always asking for, like, hey, can you send me a few links to some programs? Sure, I could send you a few links to the programs, but you have to wait until March until you can apply for the summer. And then you miss it, and then you're like, oh, okay, I gotta wait till next year, right? Why is it that you have to wait until a whole year in order to get experience, right? One of the misconceptions, actually, too, that a lot of people have is, in order for me to know how to get into a job or how to do well or develop skills, is through taking a course about that particular skill set. And the thing is, like, there's, yes, that can be helpful, but at the same time, do you really need to dedicate yourself to 3 months worth of classes to be able to learn that skill set and then to be able to figure out if you actually like it or not? So that being said, like, not everything is time agnostic. You can be able to create your internship whenever and wherever.
Awesome, fantastic. Here's a really good question as well too. How do you get a vet internship when most places say they only hire 18-year-olds?
Yeah. So the way I would approach this is, let's talk to some veterinarians, right? And asking them, like, hey, have you ever seen like students under 18 be able to work for a vet before? If not, what do you recommend them to do? Or, hey, do you know a vet that's privately owned and maybe I can connect with them? Because the whole point about reaching out to startups, especially, or small businesses, they have a lot of flexibility. They don't have policies yet. So that is a way to sneak in and to be able to get of course, hopefully you're doing legal labor, of course, under all the legal laws and protections. But what I'm saying is that they won't have a huge vetting process, right? So reach out to those small places.
Awesome. Fantastic. Cool, cool. Perfect. And again, we're seeing a bunch of questions that's just been sporadic coming through the chat right now. Is there a list of internships for here and here and here? Again, a lot of those questions, and this is like the context clues. You probably either missed the training, is number one, or you jumped in a little late as well. Again, keep in mind, can you apply internships the traditional way? You can. But again, just like Coach Victor's program, just like our college mission program, we don't do things the traditional way because I think that's, again, overdone, really, really hard to do. So there's no set list, but it's the asking of who. It's who is it as well, too. Okay. And probably one last one, Coach Victor, before we wrap it up, is where should I be looking? If there's only interest in psychology, where do you think they should reach out to there?
All right, I'll give folks a freebie if you stayed on this call long enough, and people love freebies, right? So I did curate a list of some internships. If you want to go the traditional route, which I'm not going to judge you for, okay? And I'm going to throw it in the chat. Okay, these are some internships that I've compiled together over time, and there's some little strategy guides there too that might be helpful. Okay, so take advantage of that, bookmark it. There might be some internships that are valuable to you. But again, the whole emphasis of this is to do something different. And as what we do at College Admission Secrets, we do things differently here and also within the Ikigai Career Compass business as well.
Awesome. Fantastic. And by the way, for those watching the replay, you guys can't see the chat as well too. So if you guys are interested in the freebie that I'm sure if it's okay if I can share with them, Coach Victor, go ahead and email Coach Victor directly and he'll send it to you guys after. His email, victor@collegeadmissionsecrets.com, and he'll go ahead and forward you that list. And for those who are on now, you guys can see I'm looking at right now. Holy moly. There's like dozens and dozens and dozens, kind of split by like STEM ones, engineering ones, business ones. So it's super amazing. So there we go. You're showing on your screen as well too. So holy moly. All right. With that said, I think you definitely delivered on your promise. I asked you to kill it, over deliver, pull back. You definitely did that. So thank you, Coach Victor, for doing that. Speaking of Jet, thank you everyone for joining. We went a little overtime, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. One more time, if you guys are interested in booking that free session with Coach Victor, here's a link one more time in the chat. Click it because once I close Zoom in like 30 seconds from now, link is gone forever. So go definitely do that. Book a free session with him. And then again, Coach Victor, I've known Coach Victor for over a decade now. It's been a long time as well too. He's amazing. We learned college missions together, and we kind of stayed in similar paths as well too. So yeah, he's a great guy. His program's amazing as well for if you're interested, not just the mission side, but like the career side of the game, which I think is also like the next stage after college as well too. That being said, thank you everyone for joining, and I will see you guys all next week. Bye everyone.
Everyone, thank you.